Let's get it, baby. Over here, motherfucker. We done. That's a wrap.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Masters Muscle Podcast. Before we get into the show, want to give a quick plug to today's partner, New Jersey Gourmet Meal Prep. Visit mynjgourmet.com. Code Galante20, all capital, will save you 20% off your very first order. Again, mynewjerseygourmet.com. Vin, episode 20, and what a great way to share the milestone today. Please introduce our guest.
Yeah, everybody, please welcome Greg Rando. Greg, how are you doing today? Your story, if it doesn't inspire listeners tonight, I don't know what can inspire anybody. You have a magnificent story. We first met, if you remember, I believe it was the 2009 Pittsburgh Pro. I was making my pro debut, and I believe, were you also making your Pittsburgh Pro your pro debut also that day?
I believe that was my first. Yeah, we
met there.
Yep.
You haven't been, so let's just dive into it. So you're legally blind, and you are basically crushing it on the stage with the way your physique looks, and just basically kicking people's asses and taking names. You look amazing. Tell us, so I want to know, how did Greg Rando start getting into the gym, competing? Did you do it? Tell us your story. I don't really know too much about your background.
Sure. First of all, I'm not sure how many tails I'm kicking. I mean, I'm doing the best I can, but this is like a lifelong project for me. So, I'm, still at it for many reasons, but primarily because I'm healthy and also because I'm still improving. So, along with that will come some success, but, I think I've learned a lot more from my failures to allow me to continue to gain some success here in the latter years than I have my successes, although recently I've learned a lot from my successes as well. But I just, years ago, I love sports of all kind. I've always played team sports, hockey, football, baseball, everything growing up. And my vision just started deteriorating, as I knew it would. A little bit in denial as a young kid, my parents and doctors would tell me that, and I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But I'm good now. I'm thinking to myself, it's not going to be me, but it did happen to me. And when that happened, I had, organized sports, team sports taken away from me for many reasons. And I just found myself in the gym training and kicking around in there and doing things that I could do without assistance and without vision. And, super, prominently to this day to me was the immediate increase in self-esteem and self-confidence I got from that, because here I am, and I'm my high school years, and all my friends are getting their license and they're playing sports, and I can't get my license and I can't any longer play sports. It could have been pretty tough time for me, but I started kicking around in the gym at school while they were out on the fields practicing, and quickly learned that, there was another outlet for me. And that was, training with weights and getting stronger and building my body and building my mind and self-esteem and self-confidence. And, I just kept at it. It's like, as we hear the cliche of, it's more than just, building our bodies and acquiring big muscles, being strong and looking good. It's, it's medicine for the mind. And that's what really fueled me, just knowing that it was something that, I wanted to do it daily because I wanted to get the gains and look good and look better. But I knew I had to do it because it would just make me feel so good emotionally.
And how old were you when you first like really lost your eyesight?
So it was probably like when I was about a sophomore in high school. It got very difficult for me to navigate the hallways. It was just got confusing, dealing with the changes at the time. But you know, I never really wanted to be, let's say, put in a box, for lack of a better term. I didn't want anyone to know or feel that I was disabled or handicapped or challenged in any way. So just kept putting one foot in front of the other, and it didn't get any better. Let's say that it continued to get worse, but it was a very gradual thing. And when I first started competing in '92, I was still able to play basketball in the driveway. I was still able to walk across, down the street to the mailboxes, cross the main roads, the Dunkin' Donuts, walk to call. I was walking to school, to campus from a half mile away. And, now I'm to the point where, I stand in front of my house. It's huge. There are units in here. I can't even see the building. And it's my vision has become very, very muted and distorted at this time. But, I always say how thankful and grateful I am, because I've had the opportunity to know what, colors look like, what the sky looks like, what trees look like, with foliage, grass,
Wow.
all these, beautiful creations that we all get to enjoy that, some handicapped, mostly visually impaired people never will.
And you when you say that and you describe it, it's like I realize how much we probably take all that for granted. Just the natural beauty of what we could just see outside.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I not being able to see, there's still many things that on a daily basis that I feel like I can take for granted. So yeah, it's very true. But at the same time, as I always say, if it's not a visual impairment, we're all challenged in certain ways, other ways. We all overcome challenges and adversity. They're just different.
Well, you have an amazing way of looking at things.
Greg, if I could ask, I was doing some research on your background, and you had something called retinitis pigmentosa. Is that genetic, or is that something from the environment, or?
Yeah, no, it's genetic. My brother is a year and a half older. He has the same condition. Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Greg, when you had the idea of competing for the very first time, did you have a coach? Did somebody guide you? How did that all take place?
Yeah, what was it? Early '90s. I don't even know that coaches existed, right? We were all our own coach. And I remember one time going to the Mass Eye and Ear Institute with my mom. We'd go every 6 months, and it would be like an 8-hour a day thing. This exam, that exam, holding rooms, waiting rooms. And I brought Arnold Schwarzenegger encyclopedia with me, and the pages where it had all those illustrations in black and white of the poses. My mom we'd be out in the hallway, and she'd be putting my arms and legs in the position of the poses and trying to help me, position myself and understand what's going on. So a little bit of that, self-research, and then of course, your interests generate, sort of relationships and that are similar, people that have similar likes and interests. So I found myself at the college gym around other people, and I eventually became friendly with people that would help me further, that had some experience competing and posing and stuff like that, and they would continue my education as far as that went along.
And what was your first contest that you did?
It was the Massachusetts. It was a Natural Massachusetts back in the ANBC.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, 1992.
So Greg, was it yourself that said you wanted to compete, or did you have some friends saying, Greg, you look phenomenal, you should go ahead and step on the stage?
Yeah, I was wrestling at UMass at the time, and I was like decent shape, but I was little, a small guy, but I was wiry and I was always active. So every time I go and take off my warm-ups, the guys would be like, dude, you just look like you just lifted. And all I had was like biceps and a little bit of shoulders, but they were they weren't into the weight. So, they were very motivating. The captain of the team actually was a weightlifter. He was a bigger guy, real big, heavy guy. And he knew I needed help. So he had a friend who would come periodically to our practices and get us in the weight room and do a little tutorial with us. And he took me aside and showed me a few things. And then I ended up meeting some other guys at the school gym shortly after that, and continued training there at the gym around others before I met my close lifelong best friend there. His name's Miles, who also went to the school, and he was my connection to Jose and Tito Raymond. He was
okay.
close with them down in the town they lived in. So Miles helped me out, and then we branched out from the school gym, and we're going to the community gyms, and that's where I met Tito and Jose, and that was a whole nother level, of course, of bringing my interest and activity level to a whole nother plateau. Being around those guys that are very very successful even back then when they were beginners, and very intense, very good at what they did, and I admired that and wanted to fit in. So I worked my tail off to try to fit in with those guys.
Cool. What did you end up majoring in? Cool.
Health education, and with a minor in psychology over there.
And are you in that field currently today?
No, I instead of going into teaching, Miles and I actually opened up a gym. It was shortly after we graduated college, but our whole senior year we were working on building the place. In fact, our second half of our senior year, our project was going to our facility and building it. We had just an incredible mentor there who allowed us to spend our practicum time working on our own project. And shortly after we graduated, we opened up about a 5,000 square foot, not too big, but a facility right there in the center of Stoneham, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And that was a real cool, unique gym down there. So we had that run for 10 years. We ran that until we sold it off. And since then, I've been running my own training business, and sort of semi-retired about 5-6 years ago, and moved down here to Southwest Florida, where I do some seasonal training in a beautiful community, golf community, tennis community down here, just down the street.
Cool.
Yeah.
What part of Florida exactly, Greg? I spent some time in Florida.
I'm in Bonita Springs.
Okay.
Yep. My house is actually in Naples. My address, my street is Bonita Springs, Bonita Beach Road, but my house sits in Naples. So I'm right on the border here, and it truly is annually, I think, addressed as the happiest, healthiest place in the country, one of them, and it truly is. It's just, I feel blessed to be here every day. I've been here a little 6.5 years now.
You don't miss the New England weather?
Not even a little bit. I'll leave that up to you guys in the New York.
Well, you don't miss having 30-degree days and then 80-degree days?
Yeah, no, I don't miss getting sick because of things like that. I don't miss, having to layer up to go to the gym. Although that doesn't stop us. You move down here and you realize how it didn't, because down here you're prepared for the gym from the time you wake up in the morning. Back home we had to really layer up, get ready, or if I was working at a gym, I had to sort of change my clothes and get into workout clothes, and it's just not as convenient and not as not as appealing.
Hey, Greg, just tilt the phone down just a little bit. Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Perfect.
You guys
So-
don't really want to see my face, anyways. It's a lot better if we show you the ceiling. A lot more. The viewers will probably appreciate it.
Nah, you're handsome. You look great.
So, Greg, you start competing, and is it a hobby, or do you want to become a professional? I mean, when you're starting out, what are your thoughts at that time? And at that time,
Yeah, you know, I mean, I just was psyched to be able to compete and, you know, at anything. I just love sports and competition. And then to find a passion and to be able to compete was just, it was so incredible to have that goal setting and that those things to look forward to. And, you know, it's funny, I still remember being in my kitchen there off campus and around a few friends, and we were looking at magazines, and one of them said, well, your goal is to be in the IFBB, everybody's goal is to be in the IFBB. And I just stopped for a second. I'm like, I guess you're right. I mean, I never ever had a vision or a thought that I would be an IFBB pro or a pro bodybuilder of any sort. You know, looking at those guys in the magazines and how incredible they were and what it must have taken for them to get there. And here I was, just kind of a lean, skinny guy with a couple of bumps on him, you know, and I didn't really think it was possible, but, you know, all my friends that were, you know, I have a few really good ones, and they've always encouraged and supported me, and conveyed just that to me, that anyone can do that. And if you continue on the road you're doing, why not you, you know? So that's when I sort of changed my focus and said, well, maybe there is more than just a, once or twice a summer competition. Maybe I can have bigger goals than that.
yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I come across so many people, and I'm sure you do too, that just make their problems so much bigger. And when you hear your story and like the way you look at life, you're honestly, Greg, you're a breath of fresh air to hear talk, and just you're motivating within itself. And it's going to be an honor and a pleasure to share a stage with you in Romania. I know you're going to be in the Classic and I'm going to be in the Open, but it's so cool that I was thinking about, we entered the same show as our pro debuts, and now we're actually getting on stage at the Olympia. So this is going to be a pretty cool thing.
So let's talk about that for. I'm sorry. So let's talk about that for a minute, because you became a pro and you were competing, I guess, at the light heavyweights. Was that your stage weight, light heavyweight?
Yeah, that's what I turned pro at when I won the Team Universe. I was a light heavyweight. Yep. And
then what made you decide to jump over to Classic?
Well, I just wasn't competitive. Let's just say that, I just didn't, there was a segment in my bodybuilding experience, career, that I was sort of spinning my wheels. And even though I had people around me, I was getting married. I was had some transitioning going on, moving from my gym to another facility, continuing my training. I've never stopped, but also setting goals to compete. But I just didn't have, whether it was the right focus or the right focus in surrounding myself with the right resources or people. I was just not very good. I was just almost going backwards for a while. I always said if the IFBB was an NFL team, I would have been on the practice squad.
Okay.
I was just not good. I was just not there. Although, I felt like I had potential, which is, and I had all the motivation and discipline, which is why I never stopped. I can honestly say outside of the normal rest time and vacations, I haven't missed a workout in almost 35 years.
Okay.
I continued on, but I just didn't feel like I ever would have fit in, even in the two 212. I think the first time we did it, Vinny, it was 202 actually.
Yeah.
I just wasn't big enough, and I just tried, but I just, on my terms, I just didn't think I was going to get there until the Classic came along, and one of my friends, was over and told me about it. And when I heard the criteria in terms of the height and weight and stuff, I thought right away, this is for me. This is an opportunity. This is, so that was 7 years ago. And I said, I'm going to move to Florida. I'm going to Florida. And I told a couple of people back home, and, Jose, of course. So I'm going to move to Florida. I'm going to focus, on what I need to do to get myself up on an IFBB Classic stage. And I did that for the first time in 18. And it went pretty well. I think I got third at the Tampa Pro in the 40 and over out of like 14 guys. And although I still was just okay, my conditioning was good, and I was very encouraged.
Awesome.
Good. And Greg, prior to, for many years, you were in the IFBB, and then in 2010, you jumped over to WNBF. Was there no conflict or any problems, I guess, jumping federations?
No, there were. I had to do multiple drug tests prior to my first show, and then, of course, every event there were multiple tests for me. And it was an okay experience. I did very, very well. It wasn't super competitive, but the dynamics that were involved with the competitors that I was around, I don't think they very much appreciated the fact that I was now in their league doing well. So it wasn't the best of experiences. So that wasn't very long lived.
Do you mean because of your vision impaired?
No. I just feel like, there were a lot of comments. First, I think I did one competition that one of the competitors refused to compete in my class because I came from the IFBB, and he suspects, PED use or whatever. And then, I would go to these shows, and compete, and there would be comments and, these narratives there that I was from the IFBB and I was on drugs, or I did a lot of drugs and no one else did, and it's not fair, So it just wasn't a good environment. It wasn't very comfortable. It wasn't happy. It wasn't fulfilling for me.
Okay.
That's strange.
And so it just I know it. I was a little disappointed in, the way that, look, we're all bodybuilders, and no matter what our experiences are, if we pass the test, we pass the test. Not only that, we all know what it takes to get up there and to be ready and on point and do well. So, I don't think Vinny and I would be pointing fingers or judging anyone based on the fact that we know ultimately what it takes to get up there and do well. I don't care what vitamins you take or what anything you take. You right? So.
Oh, absolutely. So, Greg, like segueing from that into your own training, what style of training do you gravitate towards? Are you more volume training, heavy training? Like, what gets you?
I've always been high on, volume, whether it's, weight, yes, but reps and sets for sure. As Dennis James put it the last time I talked to him, there's always a price to pay when you train heavy, right? There's a price to pay. And I think we can all do that for a period of time. And, training with the Raymonds, there was a lot of heavy training, a lot of deadlifting, a lot of squatting, a lot of benching. And we all need to do that to build our foundation and our base at some point in time, usually when we're younger, right? Our bones are green, our muscles are a little more compliant. But like Roger Clemens, when you lose your fastball, you have to find you have to work on your other stuff. And I quickly realized that I wasn't going to be long for the sport if I continued on that path. So I did alter my training a little bit more toward bodybuilding, having built a foundation, having learned how to use my core to build a foundation. Then I incorporate a little more lower impact bodybuilding style of training, which I still maintain now. More lower impact, still very high volume. Keep my weights up, but also my reps up.
Mhm. Have you noticed now that you're a little older, like because now I'm 56. How old are you?
53.
Do you notice that you need longer time in between workouts to recover now, a little more days off, or are you still recovering the same way?
I do notice that, Vinny. I do notice that ultimately I'd be better for a little more days off, which I stick to my routine of having my days off, where in the past I might, oh, the heck with it, we'll go, and or um, I do find myself, and I'm not ashamed to admit, now that I have more time on my hands, I need a nap a lot of times. I need to make sure I'm well rested to keep up my activity level, to meet my goals. And I definitely have noticed that. And I think it's important that we do notice that, and make sure we do things to maintain good health on top of that, so we can continue on. And I think that you and I've always been impressed by you, the fact we're kind of similar, like paralleling careers, where we're similar age. We've been at it for almost the same amount of time. It
Mhm.
seems like our competitions have lined up similarly, and we both have had physical challenges and things to overcome, but we find a way to do that.
Well, that's what impresses me with you. I mean, listen, if this was 20 years ago and you said to me, "Oh, you're going to have rotator cuff surgery and 14 anchors," I would think I'll never compete again. I'm not even going to put myself through that.
Yeah.
But I've gained a whole lot of respect through other people who have had greater challenges than I have had. Like my niece was my biggest inspiration. I watched her battle cancer, and that alone is like mind-boggling to see somebody go through that. So you just sometimes, I belong to a men's ministry. A lot of people don't know that, so I'm revealing that. So I go to a prayer group, and one of the guys in the prayer group says, um if your own crap was in a garbage bag and you took it out to the curb and you saw everyone else's crap, you take your own crap back in the house and deal with it because it was not that bad, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Greg, we talked about training. What about your diet and your food? How has that changed over the years? How has your digestion, or has it kind of been the same as well?
No, Sean, that's evolved very quite a bit also. And my digestion's always been good. I've focused on digestive enzymes for many years, but in addition to that, it's really the natural foods that provide
Hmm.
good gut health and digestion. And it's funny because when I moved down here, I ended up connecting with my old business partner Miles, who had got moved out west shortly before, after we sold the gym, and he had written a book, The 48-Hour Fat Burn, and developed some nutrition programs, eating programs, and workout programs. And it was all plant-based, largely plant-based programs. And I was sort of leaning in that direction for a couple reasons, but primarily because I'm always looking to put my health first. And as we get older, cutting down on inflammation by reducing the quantities and amount of animal products we ingest is quite honestly, to me, a big thing. So that was a goal of mine coming down here. And after reaching out to him, I said, Miles, this is what I want to do. I want to compete in the classic physique, and I want to incorporate these plant-based programs, or more plant-based foods. How do I do it? And he just told me, basically what I needed to do, which was incorporate the plant-based principles that he preaches and laid out. And in addition to that, I compromised a little. I still do have small amounts of animal protein, chicken, beef, fish and whatnot, but smaller amounts. So I probably cut down my animal protein intake at least 40% and upped my plant-based materials. And most importantly, combining the plant-based groups to incorporate both forms of fiber has been the key for me. Quite honestly, I don't know if I'd be competing if I didn't change the diet and go more plant-based, incorporate the fiber, which does so much for me and fueling my muscles for output. I used to try to lose body fat by restricting. Now I lose body fat by intaking to improve my output. And also it keeps my glycogen levels high for workouts where I'm able to, be strong right on through the whole workouts and refuel the next day and recover.
Can you give us an example of how Greg eats in a day, like meal 1 to meal 5?
Yeah, sure. I do 4 large meals, and speaking with the Boston Mass, because he's working with me now too. I have a few of these guys. I'm trying to gather all my super resources here for this event, and they're all so willing to help. My breakfast is really, it's just 2 whole eggs with a cup of egg whites. That's my protein. And my plant-based is the oatmeal with fruit, some usually mixed berries, and some nuts or peanut butter or almond butter, usually almond butter. So if you have the 5 plant-based groups, which are fruits, vegetables, grains, and then nuts and seeds and beans and legumes, there's 5 there. What we try to do and teach is to build meals is to select 3 from those groups. So the 3 would be the grain, the oatmeal, the fruit, the mixed berries would be the fruit, and the nuts would be from the nut and seed. And that will ensure me that I'll not only have sustained nutrition, sustained energy by boosting my metabolism with the slow absorption and digestion of those foods, but the combination, it'll ensure that I have the insoluble and soluble fiber, which are both very necessary to slow down digestion for good absorption.
Greg, we lost your pretty face again.
Oops.
There you go. Nope, thank you.
A second meal, which I do repeat this in variations throughout the day, like I'll have my grain will be rice. I have at least a can of beans a day. It'll be black beans and vegetables, say broccoli. So the rice will be the grain, the black beans from the beans and legumes, and the vegetable from the vegetable group. And I'll add my protein, which is usually chicken. Although I just did have quinoa, and I had white beans with it, and I had collard greens, and I had some 90, I think it was 3% lean ground beef. So we try to build those carbohydrate meals, those plant-based meals, and then add the protein to it.
So you're basically making a complete protein when you're combining all of that, correct?
Well, you do increase the amount of protein you ingest because of the combination of food, whether it's the oatmeal and nuts or the beans and rice or the quinoa and beans. Those things all have protein in them. So in combination, you're going to be able to add, 10, 15 grams to your protein intake, which in turn allows me to cut back, 3 ounces of animal protein.
So how much animal protein would you take in?
Normally
meals.
Normally like 4 ounces a meal, but now in prep I'm up to more like 6. I do bump it up for recovery, and Jose seems to think I'm going to be building some more muscle tissue in the next 3 months, so he wanted me to bump that up a little bit. So, yeah.
And when you're doing a diet like that, that's like so not conventional of a bodybuilding diet. Do when you're getting closer to the show, do you rotate carbohydrates? Do you carb deplete? Do you do any of that, or you just ride that into the contest?
Yeah, and I ride that right into the contest, and then I wasn't doing very well. I mean, I was coming in like 3rd, 4th, 5th or something. I couldn't bust the top 2, and I was over at CJ Elite, with my girlfriend, and she's like, "What happened?" I go, "I don't know. Here's a picture." She goes, "Yeah, you need to. Are you carbing up?" I said, "No, I eat a lot of carbs." She goes, "You got to carb up." So she told me what to do. I carved up 3 days prior, and then I went and won the Daytona Pro a couple weeks later.
Nice.
And it was night and day. It was night and day. I thought I was fully, pretty well carved up. But, when you work out as regular as we do, you burn that fuel down. You burn those glycogen sources down. So not only do they need to be replenished, but when you have the volume that we have within our muscles, you can take in quite a bit more. And ever since that Daytona Pro, I've been, checking in with CJ here and there, making sure, I'm on target. And I've been bumping my first, second, third day carbs up every show, and I'm still not really spinning over. In fact, Tampa, I think I was drier than any show yet, and I was up to 800 grams of carbs on top of my normal carbs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you
And
do
how
any
much more
cardio?
did you?
Oh, sorry, Vinny.
Go ahead. No, go, Sean.
Do you do any cardio?
I do cardio every day for 15 years for at least 45 minutes first thing in the morning.
Okay.
I started in 2008 when I was working with I was fortunate enough to work with Hani Rambod at the time and learned a lot from him. And I got addicted to cardio then. I just enjoy it. I love it. It's meditative for me, and I like keeping my body fat down. So yeah, I do.
That's a soundbite that you'll never ever hear is "I love cardio."
I know, it's so funny.
Oh man,
I can't start my day without it.
that's funny. So Greg, I have we started last week's podcast asking guests just 3 random questions. So this is going to go a little different direction right now, okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming, just like all of it. I mean, your diet is immaculate, but what is your biggest food craving during prep? Do you have anything that you like? Oh, I want to eat a pizza or a cupcake.
I mean, I love sweets, but last night coming out of the gym, my girlfriend and I, at the same time, said we'd basically in unison. We said we'd love to get a cheeseburger and French fries. Did
you have it?
No. French fries are one of my favorite foods. I'd never turn them away. So,
are you Italian?
Yep. So
is it sauce or gravy?
Yeah, I do. I love pasta too. I do.
But is it sauce or gravy?
Oh, it's sauce for me, man. It's sauce for me.
That's funny. All right, good. And what kind of music do you listen to while you're training? New
country. I love
new
it.
Country.
Yep. I love new country rock. Jason Aldean, who you name it, all those guys. I enjoy it.
All right, it's cool.
I got no redneck in me, but I love country.
So, Greg, as we fast forward to now and things start winding down, when you heard the Masters Olympia was coming, did you jump at it? Did you think about it? I mean, when you first heard the rumblings, what were your thoughts?
It was, right away. I was just super excited at the prospect of the opportunity. I didn't have any idea of how it was going to go, what qualifications, any selection process or anything. I just knew that, it was something that I would just love to be a part of. And, over the last 30 years of training, I've always known that, with my ups and downs, ebbs and flows, and I've always continued to go to the gym, continued to, improve and make mistakes and learn from my mistakes. And I just knew there would be an opportunity, an incredible opportunity to come my way at some point in time. And it's just so the timing's impeccable.
Yeah. Did you make plans yet? Have you booked your flight?
I have the hotel booked. We got our contract today, right? By email.
Yeah, I got the contract.
Yep, but I have not booked the plane, the air flight yet. Not yet.
Cool.
So
how much prior do you plan on going in? A week or a couple of days?
Yeah, we booked a hotel, I think, to arrive on Tuesday, and we're competing. I compete on Saturday. I think you do too, Vin, right?
I compete on Sunday.
Oh, you're on Sunday. That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
So I figured Tuesday and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, have at least 3 full days prior to competing.
Cool.
Yeah.
And are you officially in prep?
Yeah, definitely. I've trimmed down a bit, and yeah, I'm super motivated. I can't. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can say more than ever, right, Vinny? I mean, this isn't an opportunity that comes along, very often, and it's gonna be a benchmark in our careers, and something to behold.
Yeah, it's been a great opportunity. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Greg, what is your goal, Greg? Do you want to win this top 5, top 10? What's the ideal goal for yourself?
I'd love to get in the top 5. I'd love to place up high. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm improving on the shortcomings of mine last season, and I'm really working hard to make improvements there. And I'm very encouraged as I do so. So, I'm hoping that everything goes the right way for me. That I could get a top placing up there with all these great competitors. That it's just going to be super, just incredible opportunity to get chosen number one, and then to share the stage. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care how old you are. Right now, we have an opportunity to, share the field with the best in the world at what we do. So it's like the Super Bowl for us, and is just an incredible opportunity, and just gonna put everything I can into it, and then some.
Yep. And Ben, I don't know if you saw the announcement today. Jay Cutler's going to guest pose.
I
Jay
love
Cutler's guest posing.
Guest posing. He said it on his podcast.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
I heard
Yeah.
he was I know he was he was making a guest appearance. It stated, but yeah, I love that guy. He's not only because he's from New England. He's just to me, he's a really smart guy. He's a great athlete. He's a humble guy. He's a businessman. He's educated. Just a well-rounded dude, and he's super humble. And back when I was getting started, I was hanging around with a couple Russian guys that had. I was able to have a small deal with their company, and they were networking with someone in Jay's group. And the way they were talking about Jay and his intelligence at the young age that he was, that stood out to me. And I want to be a great bodybuilder. I want to be, big and all that, but I want people to talk about me like they talk about Jay. I just think that guy's.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
Greg, go ahead, Vinny.
I was just gonna say, I love your energy. I love your vibe. I love your message. And I have to say, personally, I'm glad we had you on tonight, because even for myself, I look for motivation. I have the discipline, as you know, we all have discipline. Sometimes you need a little motivation, and to hear your message, you've put a little spark on my tail, as you say. So thank you for your words today.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure, and an awesome opportunity. I really appreciate it. And same back at you, man. For many years, your name's been prominent in the sport, and bumping into you is always cool, and seeing you doing and collecting titles as well as you're doing. And it's just, reassuring that, in a way that what I'm doing, what we're doing is something special, and we're very fortunate and blessed to be able to do it. We're to
Absolutely.
be healthy and at this age, and to me, life is all about, geez, that's why, I might not have great vision, but I've got so much more blessings and than a lot, and one of them is the fact that I found a passion in life that I've been able to weave throughout my entire life since I was 18, and it's not going to stop, whether it's education or sport or work or our hobby, whatever it is. And it's an incredible opportunity. I'm so blessed to have a passion that something that I'm super passionate about, something that's allows us to be healthy, allows us to set goals, which allows us to be happy, and ultimately to experience different things in our lifetime, which is what life's all about, to collect these experiences and to follow a passion. I mean, it's hard not to be happy and enjoy life and be joyful, so
Absolutely.
bodybuilding is, I have so much respect for the sport, my fellow competitors, and the fans that help fuel it. It's an incredible, unique, special thing that we all get to be a part of.
So as we start to wind down here, where can listeners and fans reach out to you for training advice and programs down in Florida?
Well, I'm really on the net. I do work at a community that's it's a residential community, so it's close to those residents, and I don't do too much training anymore. With my vision deteriorated to the point it is that I don't really go to the gym by myself anymore, and I certainly don't feel comfortable, bringing someone around anymore. So I don't do too much. I'm always willing to share my experiences and knowledge with anyone who would like it, and they can connect with me on Facebook or at IFBB Pro Greg Rando 2001 on Instagram. So.
Cool.
Perfect. Well, Greg, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll be following you. All of us will be following your journey. Wishing you much success on the Olympia stage.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks so much for reaching out. It's really great to be a part of this, and Vinny, always great to be connected with you in any way. And I really appreciate the opportunity, guys. And good luck.
You're welcome, and I will see you in 13 weeks.
All right, if not before, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Greg.
Thanks, fellas. Thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody. And for everybody tuning in, next Wednesday, we have John Hanson. Thank you so much. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Take care.